Good morning, Darren with BestAutoDetailingTips.com in another yet gorgeous day here in Southern California. It is Saturday morning. Yes, I work on the weekends, and so far this week it will be the 7th day in a row. That's the good news. I'm very busy. It's the bad news because it allows for less time to make these videos. Anyhow, so I want to take you in. I'm going to demonstrate a product that I've recently been using over and over again, and I'm becoming more and more in love with it. It's a wax. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. I just want to lay the foundation here and lay out a couple things and bring you into my world, which is sunny Southern California. We have a high of 78 degrees. Once again, if it sounds like I'm bragging, it's only because I am. I love it. This is part of the reason I love my business and I love being mobile, is I love the outdoors, the sun. Every day is different, every place is different. So lots of variety. Anyhow, what I have here is a Porsche, brand new Porsche Cayenne S model. I'm going to take you in. I'm going to show you the before. This is about as dirty as, not as dirty as I get, but on a routine basis, this is about as dirty as I get. It's a brand new car, so that's the good news, but we've had some rain last weekend. Clearly, he has not had it washed since. Now, just to let you know, and this is going to be something for you beginner detailers, is a lot of people, in fact, someone specifically asked this because he did a detail and he thought he did a great job, but the customer doesn't call him back. Okay, there could be endless reasons as to why the customer doesn't call you back. I know in your head you want to think, oh my gosh, did I miss something? What happened? Did he not like me? Did I not do a good job? What's going on? My head's going to explode. Reel yourself in, step back away from the edge of the cliff. Everything is fine. You just never know until you know. And most instances, you will not have that privilege of knowing why did they not call you back. I have many one-time detail customers that never call me back, or they don't call me back for a year or 2 or 5 years later. It's like, who knows? Life happens. I have no idea. I'm not going to worry about it. They get to inspect my work when I'm done. So don't overthink it. Now, this particular customer, I've known him probably about 20 years now. And I originally started doing work for him because he was just frustrated. This guy is hypercritical, and an emphasis on hyper. And he's always owned black cars. He is a glutton for punishment, and he keeps buying black cars. And here we have yet again another black car. He bought his wife a brand new black Denali. It's like, James, what are you thinking? But he loves black. As he says, nothing looks better than black, Darren. But that's how I originally came into the picture. Is I met him through a friend, and he complained to me. He says, man, Darren, no one can get black right. So if you can get it right, I'm on board. So apparently I can get it right because I've been doing his cars for 17 years. But with that is I don't wash his cars. Why? Because I don't do washing. Washing is grunt work. It will wear you out. And that's part of my talk track today, is about this wax. It's an expensive wax. It is Wolfgang Fusion wax, and I can't stress it enough. The right tool really will make or break your world. It will really make the difference between you anticipating a job with pleasure or appreciation or anticipation in a good way, or you will be anticipating that job as drudgery and like, oh my gosh, it's black. And it's the same with polishes and polish pads and buffers. I mean, it really can make or break the difference in your world. And it may not happen at first, but eventually it will happen because you will become tired. And it's like washing. When you're first starting out, likely you're going to have to do washing. It's grunt work. Back when I started 25 whatever years ago, I was washing cars. I was charging $15 for a car. I charged $20 for like an SUV. Actually, this was even before SUVs even existed. So it was either minivans or trucks. I charged 20 bucks. Woo! Talk about a lot of work. So after about 15 years of that, I said, man, this sucks. Yeah, it's great because you got consistent money coming in because everyone needs their car washed, but I'm telling you, it wears you out. It will wear you into the ground. So keep that in mind as the strategy is to get away from the washing. So it's like the wax or the best tool or the right tool. I hate that word best. It's like the right tool. So you have this whole arsenal of tools. It's like a mechanic. You know, you go into these service shops, if you've ever been behind the scenes, and these mechanics have these gargantuan toolbox with like 100,000 tools. And you think, seriously, dude? Do you really need that many tools? Well, you know what his answer is? Is hell yes. Because you have that one little car, that one little repair, that one little fix, and you have the difference of absolute aggravation and frustration, bloodied up knuckles, a twisted back, a sore back because you're all contorted. But if you have that right tool, it's a cakewalk, it's a breeze. And it's the same with detailing products. So I'm using this wax more and more, and I'm just going, oh my gosh, I myself, after all these years, still have to be reminded, it's like, yes, the right tool really will make the difference of your world. Not at first, but as time goes on. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, the same thing applies. And this is about shopping value. If you value your car, which you probably do or you wouldn't be here, but it's bigger than that, because it's like, okay, you know, let's say you've taken the time to learn proper car care, but you have these products, a garage shelf full of products that you know are kind of difficult to use, and you don't know any better, and you think that that's all that's out there. And you think Saturday morning, it's your weekend, it's like, I'm going to go out and spend 2 hours washing my car, and then I'm going to detail it. Well, after 2 hours, you're pretty burnt out. Okay, you've used up a lot of energy. And now you think about reaching for that wax on the shelf that you know is difficult. Maybe it's easy to put on, but it's hard to get off. Or maybe it's a little hard to put on, but it comes off very easy. Or maybe it doesn't produce the results that you want as the finished product. Or maybe it just sucks all around. Guess what? Guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to wax your car, even though you know it needs to be waxed. So that's why it's like, as a rule, you always get what you pay for. So the more expensive waxes, yes, it's not just glorified hype. Now, does that mean that advertising and marketing doesn't inject a certain amount of hype into there? Absolutely, but I accept the nature of the beast. I understand it. It's kind of like having a rattlesnake for a pet. Are you gonna whip it out with the kids and it's like, hey kids, I got the snake out, let's have a good time? No, it's not a lap dog, but you can still have one as a pet so long as you understand the nature of the beast, which is it's a very dangerous animal. So you have to apply appropriate response. So with the right products and so on and so forth, you got to understand the nature of the beast, which is you're physical, you get tired, your car needs waxing and detailing and cleaning, but if you wear yourself out doing 2 hours of the, let's say the 2-bucket wash method, and now you're just used up and your car never gets detailed, what good is it? So that's why I like to find products that are user-friendly, and because of modern day chemical engineering, there's so many great products out there. I mean, that's the good news, is that there just really is so many good products. It's also the bad news, because there's so many products, it's like, wow, what do I do? Where do I pick and choose? Which one's really the best of the best? So that's part of my strategy, is to help you, because if it can perform in my world where I'm working in the direct sunlight a big part of the time, and that's a test that my products have to be able to rise to, is will they perform in the sun? And that's a trade-off that I've got to consider, you know, and that's part of the winning combination of my life. Is it user-friendly? Will it produce the results I want? And time is money. Time should also be money in your life. You may not be running a business, but time should be money. You should place a value on your time. So if you, for example, like if you're going to hire a detailer, it's like, okay, it's my Saturday, it's my weekend, I work 5 days a week, 10-hour days, whatever. And now it's like, now I got to go out and wash the damn car and detail it. As much as I love to do it, I just don't want to do it. So how much is your time worth, your time and effort, that you could buy back that 2 hours that you would spend on your car? Is it worth $50, $100, $150? That's what you have to consider. And that's where, as you get older and you make more money, people outsource everything in their life. That's why we have gardeners, housekeepers, detailers, house painters, because really most of this stuff, it's not rocket science, trust me. Now, yeah, detailing can get, especially if you have a black Porsche, can, represent certain challenges, but it's still not rocket science. So we could do all this stuff, but you don't want to do it because your time's that valuable, because you're busy making a living and you're busy fighting the battle day after day after day. So you buy your time back. Anyhow, so your time should be valuable. You need to place a value on your time and decide in your head, what is my time worth? And do the math. It's like these women, they'll fly all over town chasing the best deals at the grocery market. And they consumed an extra hour of their time cutting out coupons, going from one market to the next, putting the miles on their car, the gas, whatever. It's like, wow, what did you save? Like $5? It's like Costco. I can buy gas at Costco really cheap right now. But I sure as hell am not going to wait in a line that's 20 cars long just so I can save like $4. Okay, my time is worth more than $4 of the aggravation and the insult to wait in a line 20 cars deep. Okay, I don't care how cheap it is. It's just not worth my time. So to come full circle, this is where products, do not assess them in isolation, meaning pull back and look at the bigger picture. What does it cost? Obviously, it's going to be an issue for virtually all of us. How easy is it to use? Does it go on easy? Does it come off easy? Can I use it in the direct sun if need be? And just the overall user experience, it's worth some money, or it should be, because if it's such a bad experience and you realize that, you know what, man, month after month passes and I'm still not waxing my car, then what good is that product? It's worthless. You might as well pay 2 cents for it because it's not doing anything. But now suddenly, let's say you spend $60, $90, $100 on some wax, and you think, okay, what idiot is going to spend $100 on wax? Well, let me tell you what idiot will. This idiot will. You know why? Because it performs and it's just that easy, where it's like, I actually look forward to it now. Go figure, huh? Anyhow, so that's my long-winded introduction that will hopefully be useful whether you're a beginner detailer, want to get into business, or a do-it-yourselfer. So let's take a tour. This is a long-term customer. He keeps me coming back. Another point I was trying to address is, it's like, wow, Darren, how does that work? The guy doesn't have you wash his car? Well, he doesn't know what to do now because it's a brand new car and his current wash guy has already jacked it up. He's put some scratches on it. Now I got to fix it. Now he gets to pay more. So he's struggling as to what to do, because I'm not going to come out and wash this car every week. At best, I will detail it every week because I have customers like that. Now, whether he wants to spend the money or not, because on a car like that, that's going to be $150 a week, okay? He may not be able to justify that into his world. As fabulous as his world is, I can't decide for people what they value and what they're willing to pay. Point is here I am though. I don't wash it, but I still detail it. That's okay. I got plenty of people, and I tell them point blank, it's like, hey, you know what? My prices are for professional detailing, not for washing. Anyone can wash. Yeah, is the wash job all created equal? Of course not. Okay, but if you're talking about a daily driver, that you want to look good, you don't have to overthink it. Just find a quality car wash. So I'm okay with it. I don't take offense to it. I don't get butt hurt by it because it's like, dude, how come you're not having me wash your car? Well, I don't even do it in the first place, but maybe you're thinking that. It's like, wow, how come he's not washing my car? Well, if he's calling you back to detail it, that's pretty significant, because that's far more critical. So I have quite a few customers that they wash their car wherever, and they just call me when they're ready for some true professional, expert service that I can perform at a much higher level than the other guys in town. This is one of those situations. So let me take you for a tour. So you can see that this car is dirty. This is some of the scratches. I don't know if it's going to show. And you can see lots of spider webbing. Now I'm not going to go level 10 on this car, just to let you know. I'm going to go at like a level 8 or 9 because it is his daily driver. He has someone else washing it. So this is where you have to kind of respond appropriately. But there's some scratches here, and I don't mean swirl marks or spider webbing, or what we also call wash scratch, but some actual specific scratches. We can see how dirty the wheels are. Those will all be detailed out. The newer cars, at least the high-end cars, have all this felt inside here. Now, it used to be more simpler because you could just wash this out, spray some tire dressing. Now the tire dressing doesn't make this shiny, but you still have to clean out all the debris. See if it'll pull in, and I don't know if it's gonna, the lighting, there we go. So that has to all be cleaned out. Let's go on the inside. Oh, he's got the Porsche, official Porsche rubber mats. He has 3 kids. They don't go in here too often. The inside's not looking too bad. We have, you know, your traditional dirt, but it's a black interior, and so it's going to show every speck of dust and so forth. So the inside will be pretty straightforward. I'm guessing I'll spend about an hour on the inside and the majority of my time on the outside. The back end obviously is very dirty. Let's take a look over here because the lighting will be different. Yeah, the inside's not too bad. And as I tell my customers, you know, some of them will actually apologize. Sorry, it's so dirty, Darren. It's like, well, hey, job security, man. Keep up the good work. Tell your wife and kids thank you. These seats are pretty sweet. Lots of support. These side bolsters, very sweet. I love it. I love Porsche. Talk about a build quality. Just a cool machine. Anyhow, he's got 21-inch. These are factory stock wheels, but it is an upgrade. 295, 35, 21. In case you're wondering what that means, 21 is in inches. That's the diameter of the wheel. R stands for radial. 35 is an aspect ratio, which means 35% of this metric measurement, which is 295, I think. Probably millimeters, I think is what it means, but that's the width in metric, which talk about, you know, incongruent. It's like, why do we do inches and then metric? I don't know, just to confuse us. So 295 is the width. 35 means that the sidewall is 35% of this number. So if you have 2 tires that with different widths, but they're both 35 series tires, this sidewall will be different heights because it's an aspect ratio or a percentage of that number. So 21-inch wheel, that's a pretty good size wheel. Anyhow, so I'll spend my, I don't know, the next 4-5 hours detailing this thing, polishing it, and bring you back in for the finished version. Okay, the car has been washed. I started on the outside. I have not touched the inside yet. Detailed the wheels, the wheel wells, washed the car. It has been clayed. I took off the rear license plate. Why? Because I know my customer is just that particular. he would be the guy that would roll up, and he's not home right now. He'd roll up and say, hey Darren, you gonna take that license plate off? It's like, well, of course I am, James. So preemptive strike on my part is to take it off before he has to ask that question. Do I do it? Yes, occasionally. That's a call you have to make. Here's my supplies. Now, once again, I'm going with the DA polisher. He does have some specific scratches on this car. So I will start with a DA foam cutting pad. I'm going to use my newest favorite polishes currently, which are the Manzurna. And once again, the high performance compound, the FG 4000. And then I'm going to finish up with the SF 4000. Wait a minute, sorry. FG 400 and SF 4000. Now, I'm also, this time, because I'm doing extensive polishing, I am breaking out my pad washer. Huge fan, by the way. What this does is it keeps your, it will allow your, it truly will. This is expensive, in my opinion. It's like a, I don't know, I think it was $100. And you're thinking, wow, for a big glorified piece of red plastic with a little grate on it that holds water? Seriously? But once again, the tool will make or break your world. It will take you from good to great. It seriously will, the right tools. So, I pre-clean my pad, which I've already done. And now it is what you may call seasoned. And you can also spray a little quick detailer on it to season it even more. But I don't need to do that. And I always double check my pads. Even with the pad washer, I always take my hands and go over it and make sure I feel nothing. When it comes to a black car, it would be hard to be too safe. How about that? Once again, risk management. Then I'm going to finish up with my foam finishing pad, and then I'm going to take you in for the wax. But so I'm going to get busy. I'm going to do a little taping off. I've got my masking tape because these fender flares are porous black vinyl. So I'm going to protect those first. I'm going to polish, and I'm going to bring back in. We're going to do some visual checking in the sun. But I have clayed this, or I've rewind. Sniff, 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 sniff. That was my rewind. So I've washed it, I've clayed it, I've wiped it down with my alcohol distilled water solution. And now it is ready to be polished after I apply some protection. It's called safe polishing, folks. Risk management. And then I'll bring you back in. Okay, I want to show you something. I've used, okay, when I first started out, I pre-cleaned my pad with the pad washer that is full of water up to a certain line. There's directions on it. You can go to my website. I'll include the link. Once again, right underneath the video window, there's a show me or show more. Click on that. It will open up the window. You'll see all my links. Anyhow, so I started off by cleaning the pad initially. I've used it 3 times, as in applied polish 3 separate times, did my passes back and forth. As a rule, I go horizontal and then vertical, up and down. So this is what it looks like. You see how it's starting to get watered up with polish? Now the cheap way is that you never get this wet and you just use some kind of bristled little pad cleaner. It's got a little handle on it, and that's the cheaper version if you don't want to buy a pad washer. But look at this. How this works is it's got these things in here, and when you push down on it, it shoots up a little bit of water. There's actually a little attachment that you can put here as a pad dryer. So if you see, there's still, and this is the nature of these waffle type of pads, is the polish will collect in there. I don't want to push so hard on that it actually starts wearing out these pads, but it disperses it, it cleans it, it conditions it But what I do is, because this is pretty wet, like if this was a rotary polisher, I could set this on like 3,800 RPMs and spin it and just fling. It's like your wash machine in the rinse cycle or the spin cycle. It'll fling so much water that it's virtually dry enough to go straight into polishing. DAs, you don't have that luxury. And if I were to put polish on this now, because it's wet enough, and then I polish the car, it will actually not only create some sling, which is messy, but it will change the nature of the polish. And not all polishes respond or react differently to water, or the same with water. They respond differently. So what happens is you have this kind of soupy type of polish that still works, but now it's harder to remove. So what I do is I take a microfiber, a clean one, and I turn it on. Because that was noisy enough, there was two things I did. First, I want to dry the middle section, but because I can still feel water shooting off from the perimeter of it as it's spinning, at the very end you'll notice I just kind of held this lightly. Unfortunately, you have no idea how much pressure I'm using or not. So at the very end I want it to continue to spin, because that's the nature of DA buffers. You see these marks here? So the thing oscillates and it spins. So if I don't put enough pressure on it, that's the difference between a dual action orbital and a forced rotation. If this was a forced rotation buffer, I would not be able to grab that and hold it, and these marks would then consequently still continue to spin. It's like a rotary. You grab hold of that and it's just going to keep going. This will continue to oscillate, but it will stop the actual spinning. So the point is when I clean it, I want it to oscillate and dry the pad out, but then I hold light pressure so it will continue to spin, because the water will work its way out towards the perimeter, and I want to make sure that I get no sling when I use it back on the car. So right now, that pad is good. Once the pad has been seasoned, that's what we'll call it, because it's just barely damp at this point, it does allow your polish to flow, for lack of a better word, easier and better. And that's why I'm a huge fan of the pad washer. But if I'm only going to be polishing like a scratch or a single panel, I don't take the time to bust it out, because then it's that law of diminishing returns I talk about. Because you have to fill this up with water, then when you're done, it's full of like messy, dirty water. You've got to dispose of it, you got to clean it up, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm doing a lot of polishing, it seriously will save you time. And you have a clean, fresh pad that's like perfectly seasoned as often as you want. You can do this every time you apply polish. You can go 2, 3, 4 times, whatever works for you. What works for me is a case by case. As a rule, I'm generally going to wash the pad every 3 times I apply polish. And once it's been seasoned, and if you've seen my other videos, you know that I don't use much polish. As a rule, if you are a beginner, and you've got all kinds of methods, everyone will say, oh, put the X. I've seen guys do this big swirl pattern, and I think, man, talk about excessive on the polish. But that's usually by a manufacturer, and they want you to go through more polish. Okay, I'm going to go through as much polish as is required for what I need and what I want to deliver to my customer, not based on how much polish Menzurna wants me to buy, or Auto Geek, or even me. So this is all the polish I need right now, and I just place it strategically so that the second it starts polishing, it automatically is even dispersed. So that's all the polish I will use. This amount of polish will literally be good for a typical panel of a car, okay? I know they vary, but go with that. I don't use much polish. It's just wasteful, creates more mess, more work for you. Like I said, sometimes more is just that. More is not always better. So that's, and if this pad was dry, let's say I didn't have a pad washer, and if it was dry, my very first go around, until it's kind of seasoned with polish only, I would barely use a little bit more than this. So it really doesn't require that much. That's a little sidebar for you guys, folks. Okay, I've got my Wolfgang Fusion, and the more I use it, the more I love it. You'll notice the tape for protection. That's when I was polishing. And now I'm just going over. I've done the 2 steps of polish. I've removed the polish each time in between the steps. And now it's time to apply this wax. And once again, in case you haven't seen my other videos, the surface is far more critical than the wax itself. And what I mean by that is, if your canvas sucks, your wax is only going to be good for so much. So that's the more critical part of the equation. Okay, I'm just about done. As I will edit it, you'll see how difficult it is to sometimes do these videos. Customers are coming and going. They're like, hey, what's going on? Anyhow, I'm done with the inside, done with the outside. I've got to dress the tires, do that last little bit, but the sun's disappearing on me quickly. I wanted to bring you in and show you the money, because this is why we get black cars, and this is called job security, because if you can nail them, there's people that are willing to pay to get it done right. So a couple things with wax. I always finish with some form of quick detailer or a spray wax. So for example, as a rule, I like to match up. Whether you pick Pinnacle, Wolfgang, Meguiar's, match it up with their spray wax sealant. Not a quick detailer, but like an actual spray wax. And it will finish up just flawlessly. And when you have paint that's this flawless, everything shows. I mean everything. It is like a nightmare trying to get it right. And there's my phone. Anyhow, so that's what I recommend on that, but let me take you through here real quick. We have, and I'm not delusional, I don't carry too many delusions about myself. In this lighting, this is the lighting that is like prime time. It doesn't get much better than this, by the way. And I never know what's going to pick up in the lighting. Now, is this paint truly flawless? No, it's not. But anyone that sees this is just going to, you know, wet themselves, including myself, because I look at this and I just go, oh yeah, this is why I love detailing. The inside was a nightmare, even though it was clean, but it's black. And every speck of dust just shows, and it is such a pain in the butt. But the good news is that you're not in that kind of direct lighting too often. So, and this styling on the inside of this is just fabulous. Fit and finish, superb. The material selection, the quality, I mean, it's just absolutely at the top of its game. Anyhow, I love this car, and I'm going to take some still shots of it also. So just wanted to take you for a quick little tour. Like I said, I still have to finish the tires. I got to check these wheels. Once you clean the wheels and there's a little bit of rust on them, and then you drive the car, it shaves off that layer of rust instantly. And then all that little rust dust then goes on the wheel, so you have to touch up the wheel after you move it. So, but I just wanted to take you guys in and show you just how faboo this thing looks. Let's go from a distant shot. Okay, once again, till next time, don't forget to look at that show more box underneath the description, and look for the link, or underneath the video player, and check out all the links. Help spread the word. Post this anywhere, I don't care. Spread the word. Pay it forward. Call it whatever you want. Help me out. I appreciate it, and thank you in advance.